Alright guys, great job winning that Chatham Cup, but still, it took us a while to put them away there, okay? So our form of late hasn't been too great. Need to pick things up these next two games against the Suburbs, Western and Eastern. And it's going to be a bit weird because we're actually playing Western Suburbs here in Christchurch, and we haven't done that since I've come here. So I know it's going to feel a bit strange, but let's actually make the most of home field advantage, beat Western Suburbs, top of the table clash, go clear on top, beat Eastern up there, and we should be okay for a spot in the final. Let's get it, boys. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 93 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both the All Whites and with Cashmere Technical. I hope you're doing well, and coming up today we've got two big games in the National League Championship, taking on two teams right near the top of the table alongside us. First up, we finally host Western Suburbs, and off the back of that, it's a bus trip to Auckland to take on Eastern Suburbs. So if you're looking forward to that coming up in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. At the end of last week, we did finish off World Cup qualifying with the All Whites and also play the Chatham Cup final against Miramar Rangers. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. As you can see, the very comfortable win over Vanuatu. In the end, it was actually 20-0 over both legs, and then a 3-1 win over Miramar in that Chatham Cup final, albeit was a little bit scratchy. It's not quite our best here, it feels like, recently at Cashmere Technical, and hopefully they'll improve in today's episode. We've only gone for just over a week off the back of that Chatham Cup final before two big games in this championship phase of the National League, and the reason that it is quite big, this first game in particular, top of the table clash, both teams deadlocked at the moment. For some reason, Western Suburbs are above us, probably because they've scored more goals than us, but so far we've kept a clean sheet in all three games. But unfortunately, just before that Chatham Cup final did blow the chance to go clear on top with a 0-0 draw away at the Phoenix Reserve. So hopefully we can pick up a win in both these games in today's episode, and that should start to take us towards a spot in the National League Championship Grand Final. Western Suburbs, we've played them quite a bit over the last couple of seasons of this save. They've been there and thereabouts in terms of the National League Grand Final and also the OFC Champions League. It's been them or Auckland City pretty much the entirety of our time here at Cashmere Technical this season. They were the Central League champions by just the 1 point over Wellington Olympic, but definitely a team who traditionally are one of the stronger ones in New Zealand, no doubt, because those youth facilities and youth recruitment are quite strong. So it does mean they bring through some pretty good new gens in this save, hence why they're always one of the big contenders. But for the first time in a long time, hopefully we can show this over at the Data Hub. And eventually I get there. That shows how little I use the Data Hub. I thought it was on next opponent, instead it's on previous meetings. But we'll just run through this because the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, although that was at Sky Stadium, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 times we've played these guys. It's been up in Porirua. This is the first time in nearly 10 years, and 8 years in fact, that we've played them at the GMP. So hopefully we can make the most of that. As you can see, our record against them are pretty good, especially in that time since we've been at the club. It's actually, I think, the first time that we're playing them at the GMP since I've joined Cashmere Technical. Only lost to them once, which was in a quarterfinal of the Chatham Cup on penalties. But hopefully we can pick up a win here and go lone top spot of that National League Championship as we finally get a chance to host Western Suburbs. And here are the team sheets for this first game of today's episode. Now, Dosso got a yellow card in the Chatham Cup final, which does mean he's suspended for this game. So Al-Katani at right back, and with no combination, like I thought would be the case with him and going into that Chatham Cup final, we've gone with our new signing Mahamadou at right wing. He should be better there with Western Suburbs. They're looking pretty similar to the last couple of years. Hopefully a win at home here in this top of the table clash. And it's only taken 4 minutes for the first highlight in this game. Western Suburbs there, it did look like we're on the attack, but thankfully we win the ball there defensively down our right hand side through Al-Katani, and he's back on the ball here, starts to make his way forward. Good bit of footwork there as well, cuts inside a bit to find a bit of space before passing it back to Libby Evans and going back to Teo De Niro. Now young Sam Clark starts to make his way forward, going back there to McGoldrick. So currently just spending some time on the ball, but now we start to make our way forward here through Mahamadou. Try some footwork, gets beyond his man. That's a really good chance for him, but unfortunately can't quite hit the target. Did beat Chronopoulos, but unfortunately doesn't score a goal. Maybe just stuck with Tariq Nara off the back of his goal-scoring exploits in that Chatham Cup final in the last game that we did play in the save. But thankfully off the back of that, we're on the attack yet again. Thankfully, that back pass was to a player and not to an opposition player. I thought the referee there was a Western Suburbs player, but that shot from Smith, it goes wide. A couple of early chances, but still 0-0. And we make our way forward now to just shy of the 20-minute mark, and it's a corner here in our favour. And Teo DeMiro gets on the end of it and actually puts it on target. He's quite wasteful sometimes with these set-piece chances, but that time heads it into the ground, and we beat Chronopoulos and actually get a shot on target and make it 1-0. That's quite nice because we've been on the front foot so far in this game. Eventually take a 1-0 lead. And it looks like that might do it for the first half in this game. Things have certainly slowed down off the back of that opening goal to Teo DeMiro. About 10 minutes ago, we had a corner, one of those silly ones that got lofted well over the crossbar, albeit now it's a free kick here in our favour. Mahamadou heads there across the face of goal. I'm not too sure how, but Xavier Smith gets on the end of it and puts it away. And boy, I think we needed that goal just before half-time because we've definitely been the best team in this game so far. I think Chronopoulos there comes up with a save, but unfortunately for him, just parries it straight into the path of Xavier Smith. That makes it 2-0. As you can tell, stats-wise, that's a bit relieving because we've definitely been the team playing the football in this first half. Western Suburbs with only one shot. We've had 10, 6 on target. Thankfully, 2 of those did result in goals. Everyone out there doing a good job, so I think no changes needed. Pretty happy with how this one's going. Western Suburbs struggling away from home as we've got a 2-0 lead. It's only taken a few minutes here in the second half for the first highlight. It might be in favour here of Western Suburbs. Anderson, who's definitely on the fringe of the All Whites these days. Quite a promising centre-back who we nearly signed actually, but unfortunately he chose to go up to the filthy team in Porirua, but now they're on the attack here. A chance there, not too sure who that was for. Might have been Campana, I think, but it is a header. It did beat Hawkins. Comes off the woodwork.
Yeah.
And off the back of that, we've got an injury, and it's a serious one as well, to an all-white Louis Evans. So because of that, I think the safe option here is to put Ollie McGoldrick forward to DM. Isaac Hughes can come on at centre-back. So that is not ideal. Injury and forced sub here early in the second half, and especially because our backup balling midfielders are all foreigners. So that could mean a shuffle up if that injury does last too long. Might mean we have to change our squad going into that Eastern Suburbs game. Thankfully, doesn't impact us too much in this one. Right off the back of that, we get a penalty, and this will be a chance here for Castro to bag yet another goal this season. To be fair, his last couple of penalties haven't been too great. Chronopoulos goes the right way, but thankfully, he still beats him. That's number 35 this season. What a first season at the club he's having. The 19-year-old Ecuadorian, and that should put this game to bed 3-0 with a half hour left. And just about to make our way into the last 15 minutes of this game, no highlights off the back of that penalty which Castro did put away, but we've got 2 subs left. May as well make them so these players coming on the field can get a ring. So Lorenzo Janssen, he can come off. Tristan Turner can kind of play central attacking midfield, so we'll bring him on. And I think our final sub could take off Smith here, but he's going quite well, so I think we'll take off Mahamadou or Nathan Walker. That's all our subs used. 3-0 in front with only about 15 minutes left. And just about to make our way into the last 10 minutes of this game. It's a free kick here to Western Suburbs, and Tiffany does get in behind there, and good work from Hawkins and Hughes to make sure that one doesn't get bundled into the back of the net. So far in the National League Championship, yet to concede a goal. Hopefully that will continue. That should bump up our goal differential and give us a good advantage over Western Suburbs just in case we do drop points. And they pick some up, and off the back of that, Cogman with a shot, but Hawkins comes up yet again with a save. So definitely these players out there trying to make sure they get their clean sheet bonuses. To be fair, not too sure if we're offering too many of those these days off the back of some contract renewals since our finances were a bit dodgy back when we were a professional club. Of course, these days only semi-professional. Western Suburbs in the second half, as you can see stats-wise, actually probably got more shots off than us in this half, but thankfully nothing too threatening. Now Hawkins will punch that one clear. Cogman gets his way inside the box, but that's a really good tackle that from Al-Katani, who's been pretty solid in place of Dossau, who I think should be back for that second game of today's episode, the bus trip up to Eastern Suburbs in Mission Bay in Auckland. Very fancy area up there that we can have a look at off the back of this game. Hopefully Evans will be okay. Now good chance there for Western Suburbs, but to be fair, they're well offside there is their striker, and even then it come off the woodwork. So to be fair, they're getting some shots off. Thankfully, not too many on target. The XG definitely has bumped up in the second half, but 2 first half goals to Teo DeMiro, an important late one to Xavier Smith, and that penalty off the back of that injury to Evans through one Carlos Castro does mean we pick up, in the end, a pretty comfortable 3-0 win. We'll check on that injury to Evans before we come back for the game against Eastern Suburbs. Hopefully it's not too serious, but that will definitely put us on top of this National League Championship. So a very good win for us first up there. In today's episode, we'll do an injury check shortly, but before then, we're actually playing on the Sunday the week after. So quite a few games have taken place in between now and when we started today's episode. There's our 3-0 win. A draw there between Nelson Suburbs and Manurewa. Nelson Suburbs at that point were actually quite high on the table. Napier City Rovers now in second. They beat the Phoenix Reserves, which we couldn't do in Eastern Suburbs, with a win over Wellington Olympic. A double to one of our former players in Jordan Courtney Perkins. He's definitely someone to keep an eye out on in this upcoming game these days. The 30-year-old Australian, but of course, if there's an injury crisis, we could try and get him to play for the All Whites. And moving forward to the Sunday games from last week in Auckland City, as you can see, starting to make their way up the table there off the back of a 2-0 win over Tauranga. And going forward to the Saturday, they beat Wellington Olympic 4-2. Olympic not looking too strong this season, and to be fair, Western Suburbs have fallen down the table quite a bit off the back of a 0-0 draw with the Napier City Rovers. That's a surprising result considering they finished about 10 points below them in third on the Central League, and also Nelson Suburbs more drop points with a 1-1 draw against Tauranga City. We're about to take on Eastern Suburbs, while the Phoenix Reserves, they take on Manurewa. But to be fair, that one doesn't impact us too much with those two teams right down near the bottom of the National League Championship. But before we take on Eastern Suburbs, I think for one of the first times on camera so far in the save, they're a team from the Northern League. Don't really take them on too much because they're not usually one of the stronger Northern League opposition. But as you can see, Meadows Farm, pretty sure we haven't been there, so we definitely go to a bus trip. And they come to this one off the back of some pretty good form, because before that win over Wellington Olympic, they beat Auckland City 3-1. So they come to this one in a decent patch of form after a bit of a scratchy start there against the Western Suburbs and also the Phoenix Reserves. Just going back, they are currently 6th on the table, but if they can pick up a win here at home, they would join us joint top of the National League. But hopefully we can grab a win here, and that would take us 3 points clear on top of the table, and that should start to get us in a good spot to be making that championship grand final of this National League. Before then, a couple of injuries. Henrik Fries is in rehab, but still probably won't feature for the rest of the season. But Louis Evans, broken ribs, he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. He's probably out for the rest of the season. That does mean I'm going to be doing a shuffle up for this game, because need to bring in a foreigner for him in ball-winning midfield. So that's a bit of an issue. So it does mean that Teo DeMiro drops out for Georgios Sectoros, and also Tristan Turner, the backup to Sam Clark. He picked up an injury and he is out for 6 days to 2 weeks with a pulled back muscle suffered in training. So a couple of injuries off back of that first game. Thankfully, should still have the squad depth to make sure that we can pick up a win here, even though it is away from home. But before we get stuck into the second game, it's time for a bus trip in Auckland to Meadows Farm. And we did travel up the day before for this game against Eastern Suburbs, so it does mean that we do need to find a hotel for this bus trip. Quite a fancy area, I'm pretty sure. I haven't actually been there, but I've heard that Mission Bay, quite la-di-da up there in Auckland, right next to Mission Bay Beach, and also the promenade, a fountain, some toilets in there, and also there's a Movenpick shop very close to this hotel. Might have had a bit of an impact, you know. I love a Movenpick, usually the hotel, because there's chocolate there and whatnot. We're going to stay here at the Stay Coastal Mission Bay. To be fair, it's a touch expensive, but hopefully the boys can just share that out between them, pay a bit extra so the manager can go enjoy some ice cream, and also they can as well off the back of this game. Here is the website itself for the hotel. It does look quite fancy. We're going to splash out up here in Auckland, seeing as we're staying in quite a fancy area there. You can see what's around it. It does look quite posh. Hopefully we can make the most of that and put on another good performance here to make sure we go 3 points there on top of the table. There's Mission Bay. We will definitely be staying, I think, in one of those $375 per night rooms, albeit you could squeeze the boys in and might save money in one of the other rooms, but definitely should be enough up there so we can book out the entire place. Also interesting to see they've got places up there in Tauranga and Takapuna. I say up there, Tauranga is completely different, but Takapuna is up there in Auckland. There's what it looks like nearby. Also apparently Kelly Talbot's Aquarium is one of the experiences nearby, which I thought was a bit closer to town, but good reviews. That's where we're going to be staying, and to be fair, it's only a 4-minute bus trip, 2 kilometres. So let's see what we can spot here on our way to the Meadows Farm Recreation Reserve. We'll start off here on the outside of the hotel and see what it does look like. There's the parking. It does look relatively fancy. Just seeing what that is right next to it there, it does look like it might be a cafe. In fact, it's the pharmacy. I thought it might be a bar or a cafe. Let's just zoom in a bit and see if we can spot what it is. It almost looks like a Spates Ale House, but maybe it's not. It's just a pharmacy logo, which is a bit disappointing. Also nearby a bus stop, it looks like, which is quite useful with this being a bus trip. But I'm pretty sure we are going this way here. So let's start this bus trip. We'll come out here, take a right-hand turn, but already we are very close to the beach. Some nice morning walks there before we get stuck in to game preparation. We'll take a right-hand turn here, and already I've seen one of the nice things here nearby the hotel. There's that Movenpick that I'll just be at all the time. And also above it, a Belgian beer cafe. All this looks like very, very fancy pantsy Auckland, this does. I'll quite enjoy this. Also, cafes and restaurants nearby. This is a very nice spot indeed. And of course, over the road, you've got the beach, which does include a bit of a walk. We'll make our way here down the main drag in Mission Bay. There's hot dogs, there's Tex-Mex, there's all sorts. I'm going to have a food baby off the back of this, but we'll keep making our way here down the main road. Let's see what else there is. Kiwi-O, not as interesting. Sells pizza. I can get that anywhere, but it is quite nice usually. Real estate, that might be worthwhile actually, because this does look like a very nice area, and with the money I've been getting from Cashmere Technical and before that, AFC Auckland, might have enough to buy a house up here, albeit no doubt I should buy one in Porirua, because we're probably going to end up there next year off the back of, I think it was 13 years since we've last taken on Western Suburbs at the GMP. I doubt if we'll be playing them 2 years in a row, but I'm pretty sure we go here through the road cones. Indeed, that's the case, and I'll just see what else pops up on this road trip. On the left-hand side, there's more of the Mission Bay beach, albeit these days it does look a little bit dodgy. Starting to get now towards the bit where you probably shouldn't be going. There's some apartments there on the right-hand side. A little bit of a walk though to all those nice eating places and whatnot, but here we'll make our way around the slight right-hand turn, and it's a little bit of an ocean drive for a while here as we get a bit closer to Meadows Farm. And going down Tamaki Drive, I can see there on the right hand side there's a couple of apartments which are for sale, and to be fair, they do look quite nice, albeit now we're starting to get a bit further away from all those eateries. Also across the road, still kind of the beach. It doesn't look like it's actually much of a beach, albeit that might be because the edge of the road is covering off the sand, but there you can see a couple of people walking their white dog. I'm not too sure how much longer he'll stay white though. It does look like it might be a bit dirty in there. He might need a bit of a wash when he gets home, but we've seen a couple more apartments here and a couple more coming on the right hand side. These are some very, very fancy looking accommodation up here in this area of Auckland, but now we make our way down this road a bit further, Route 7/Tamaki Drive. We keep going down the main road here, past a couple more bus stops, and definitely now we're starting to get a bit closer to the ocean, albeit a bit more beaches starting to pop up here on the left hand side, just starting here across from something which back in 2022 was still being built. Maybe another place you can eat food or drink booze, but we'll keep making our way down here the road a bit further. Beef here starting to look a little bit less fancy than it was around where we started. Up here we've got somewhere that we can eat at. Is that the fish and chip shop? No, that's the beach eatery and store, because I did see a fish and chip shop somewhere near where we are playing. But now it's time for us to take a right hand turn and move our way away from the beach just a little bit. We're going to go here down Averill Avenue and let's see what is down here. It looks like there's a couple of places, Down Low Barbecue, also some lawyers, which hopefully I won't need. I'm pretty sure we're not doing anything Nancy like here at Cashmere Technical. We'll make our way down here and just see if there's anything interesting or if we skip this road. And it's fair to say we've made our way now into a bit more of a quieter suburban area. It's still pretty nice houses in around here, as you'd expect near a beach and whatnot. We're just going to take a little bit of a left-hand turn here, keep following this road, and down the end of this, we should be getting to the Meadows Farm Recreation Reserve, which is where Eastern Suburbs do call their home. Someone's moving out there. They're probably going to an even fancier part of it. We'll make our way here down the road. A couple of shops and whatnot there a bit closer to where we're playing. We've got a Casey Clinic and some Iron Face Institute stuff maybe. If some of the boys need some face work, if they get a broken nose off the back of this game, that's where they can go. I think just down here on the right, we've got the bakery, and coming up, there it is there, in fact, the fish and chip shops. There's a few eating spots nearby, also a deli and cafe, which I dare say might be Indian, but not too sure actually. Doesn't pop up when you hover over the restaurant sign. We'll make our way here down the road, and coming up shortly, if we take, I believe, a right-hand turn here through that gate, that's how you make your way to Meadows Farm Reserve. At least I'm pretty sure that's the case, and indeed we've made our way there kind of for a bit of a shortcut. There you can see some guys training. To be fair, don't see any football posts up like there was if I go back one. Pretty sure there were the posts up there, so I'm not too sure what's going on there, what was happening on the day when the pictures got changed, albeit that is a 10-year difference. Maybe that's why, but there's the ground that we are playing Eastern Suburbs at. We'll just see if we can find their club room somewhere. Here you can see the goalposts are back up. That's where we're going to be taking them on, just trying to find a club rooms. To be fair, can't really see one. Maybe it's over on the other side of this park. In fact, I might be able to see it there over in the back left. So maybe we go this way and can have a look at their club rooms as well as the park, because there it is there. It looks pretty decent, albeit very, very open. But if we go down here a bit, let's see if this is their club rooms. Can't go forward anymore, so a bit of a zoom in and see if there's any signs of that being the case. And there isn't, but I'm pretty sure that is where we're playing this game in today's episode, at least according to Google Maps it is. Hopefully we can pick up a win over Eastern Suburbs and extend our gap on top of that National League Championship. And here are the team sheets for the second game of today's episode. First up, the home team up there at Meadows Farm. Courtney Perkins at centre back, and they are going just like us with a 4-2-3-1. Couple of changes for us. Dossau's back, but also Marcus Vinicius for Louis Evans. That did mean to bring in a local for Tio Demiro at centre back. So that's why Victor Ross, he comes in as well to make sure that we do keep under that foreign limit. But hopefully a win here. We go 3 points clear on top of the league. And just shy of the 10-minute mark, first highlight of this game is a free kick here in our favour, and Janssen gets his head on the end of that one. I think it might have been going in anyway, but Jordan Courtney Perkins, he loves scoring at the moment, even if it's for his old club. That is some classic FM. Nice ball there from Sam Clark. Janssen loops this one over their goalkeeper. It's an absolute stonker of a name, that one, but Courtney Perkins just makes sure it finds the back of the net, and we take a very early 1-0 lead there, thanks to a known goal. Gotta love that when one of your former players does help you out there on a tricky away day. But now it was the Eastern Suburbs on the attack. Thankfully, Xavier Smith, good tackle there on a yellow cutlery. So probably you'll see Leon Sutton in the second half. Now Castro makes his way forward. Really nice pass that for Janssen, but hits the woodwork. Now Dosso tries to fizz that one into the mixer. We'll end up with a corner, but good chance there for us to make it 2-0. Castro, a very unselfish play, but unfortunately Janssen couldn't quite hit the target. We'll see what happens from the corner off the back of that, but unfortunately that ball's a bit too easy for the goalkeeper. 1-0 coming up to the 15-minute mark. And about halfway through the first half, we get the next highlight in this game. It's a goal kick here in our favour. Marcus Vinicius will pump this one deep. Definitely someone we're going to see a fair bit of for the rest of the season with that injury to Louis Evans. Did just spot there, I think, Paris Dudley at left back for Eastern Suburbs. A player we gave some game time to as one of our youth intake players. Went up at AFC Auckland, if that's the right Dudley. So might be a few of our former players here in this Eastern Suburbs team, which I suppose is to be expected considering they are in Auckland, just like AFC Auckland are. But now we are on the ball, albeit taking a wee while here to get going. Vinicius, and now we get it forward to Juan Carlos Castro, who just cannot stop scoring. Janssen will pick up the assist. He couldn't put it away earlier. This time Castro does. Nice finish there into the bottom left corner. That makes it 2-0, 36 goals this season. I skipped over that editing, Shaun. Hopefully can show you guys the replay. That was a bit dumb, but good finish there from Juan Carlos Castro. And we take a 2-0 lead up at Meadows Farm. And just made way into the last 5 minutes of this first half, and a free kick for us here might be a chance for us to put this game to bed, and it is going to be through Mahamadou, who will put that one home, but unfortunately the referee there, the assistant, puts his flag up. Not too sure how close that was, and we don't even see a replay, which is a bit unfortunate. A goal there probably would have put this one to bed, much like we did against Western Suburbs early in the second half. Now a corner looking for Victoros, can't quite find him, but Smith plays that one back out to Mina, takes on the shot there from a tight angle, but unfortunately gets under that one far too much, doesn't even test the goalkeeper. But that is a very good first half to be for Eastern Suburbs, are getting chances, but no shots on target. The XG quite similar to ours, but thankfully own goal through Courtney Perkins, and then Castro pops up with his usual goal. As I said earlier, something for Smith, seeing as he is on that yellow card, but pretty happy with how this one's going. Pretty similar how that game against Western Suburbs went, 2-0 in front at halftime. And just coming up to the hour mark in this game, I think we're going to make our last couple of subs here, because both players down the right-hand side are not doing too well. So we're going to bring on here Nathan Walker for Mahamadou and Isaac Hughes for Dossau, only going fairly on a 6.5. Both of those players. That's all our subs used. Still 2-0 in front though, with a half hour left. And only a couple minutes on from those subs, there's a throw in here for Eastern Suburbs. I can get a goal back here. That might make things a bit interesting later on in this game. That ball goes over the top of our defence there. A good save from Hawkins, then we scramble that one away. A little bit iffy, but I think there we might have just dealt with the danger as Guy passes that one back to Courtney Perkins. He knows not to attack his former team before he got an own goal. Now a corner there for Eastern Suburbs, a glancing header. That one just touches the crossbar, so a couple of quick fire chances there for Eastern Suburbs, but still, despite the fact the XG is now higher than us, not able to hit the target, and we're still 2-0 in front. And just making way into the last 5 minutes of this game, was just about to think here about time wasting, but we'll see what happens from this highlight. From a corner, Mina floats that one far post, and Georgios Victoros will head that one home, as he's done so often for us in the past here at Cashmere Technical, and also, of course, when he was up at AFC Auckland. Then that puts this game to bed. Make sure we don't need to time waste or do anything like that. Really weird game, because XG-wise, very even, but both teams with not many shots on target. Thankfully, ours have been pretty efficient, even though one of them was a known goal through Courtney Perkins. But Eastern Suburbs will probably feel like they could have actually taken something off us from that game if they had hit the target, but thankfully for us, that was not the case. We pick up a 3-0 win, and that will see us go 3 points clear on top of the National League Championship. So 2 good wins for us there in today's episode. Still have kept a clean sheet on all our games here in the National League Championship. Their manager still doesn't think we're much chopped. To be fair, stats-wise, they probably could have taken something from that game if they got shots on target. They did get one. It was through Jordan Courtney Perkins, though, into the back of their own net, but a 3-0 win there, and that does mean we're now 3 points clear on top of the table. These days, Napier City Rovers in second, and Auckland City are starting to find some form finally this season. Too bad they didn't do that at the Club World Cup, those losers, but they might be storming home late for a spot in that final. As per usual, Nelson Suburbs, Western Suburbs, and Eastern Suburbs also not too far behind, but probably the teams from Phoenix Reserves down might be in a bit of trouble. But hopefully now we've put ourselves in a strong spot to make sure we'll take one of those spots in the National League Grand Final. Might be interesting though to see who that will be against, but that will do it for today's episode. 2 good wins there over both the suburbs. If you enjoyed today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. In terms of what we'll come back for in tomorrow's episode, I think we'll come back and play 2 more games before the National League Grand Final here in this league phase, because big double header, Auckland City at home, followed by a potential bus trip there to take on Napier City Rovers, and those 2 teams currently second and third on the table. That could be quite decisive in seeing who we play in the National League Championship Grand Final, so I think that might be an interesting one, especially considering we can do a bus trip there in Napier. So until tomorrow for that double header, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.